Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is the video game equivalent of saying, fine, I'll do it myself. But you might be wondering, how did we get here? Let's get some backstory about what it even is. Because this game is burdened to forever live in the shadow of another game. Published by Sega in 2000 on the Dreamcast, Jet Set Radio was a Tony Hawk game about low-level vandalism being punished by an over-militarized police force. Some things never change. Graffiti, better bust out the tanks. In summary, the game is made of tight explorable zones, accessible via sick grinds and wall riding. You have a time limit to hit all the graffiti points as the level slowly fills up with pork products. The true challenge isn't the cops though. They're just there to fluster you as you try to master controlling your own character. It feels like you're controlling a heavy cloud on roller skates. This game helped pioneer cel shading in games, as well as taking Sega's love of rage-inducing slopes to the third dimension. Getting Sonic going on a slope without the wind-up kind of feels like one of those slow-motion nightmares where you're being chased but you can't run, you know the ones? Without this game, we may not have Wind Waker's iconic look when it released 3 years later, and we definitely wouldn't have Sunset Overdrive, Hi-Fi Rush, or Hover. In the USA, it was called Jet Grind Radio for legal reasons, which isn't the worst regionalization to be honest, but I'm personally offended every time I see someone call it Speed Punks and not Speed Freaks. Speed Punks is like calling Need for Speed Need for Fast. A spruced up sequel called Jet Set Radio Future landed in the future 2 years later on the Xbox and blew my tiny mind at the time. It improved on its predecessor in almost every way and landed critical acclaim across the board, but failed to make all the money in the world. Turns out critical acclaim is about as useful as all that work you did just for the exposure. You can't buy food for exposure unless you're exposing yourself on OnlyFans. Sega walked away from the franchise for the next 20 years. Instead, they focused on trying to see how bad a Sonic game could really be, for science. Yeah. In America, they should have called it Quick Hedgehog. A universal port came out for the original game in 2012, but Radio Future remains in the grave to this day. Xbox's Phil Spencer even tried lobbying for it to be on Game Pass, but it wasn't to be. Rumors are that perhaps they couldn't renew licenses on the music, but it could just as likely be that they accidentally wiped the drive the source code was on to fit more pictures of Sonic and Tails kissing. A sequel on the Wii was rejected by Sega, as well as a PlayStation 4 version in 2017. Various studios have floated out like pitches for this game, and it's just never happened. There have been rumors and leaks of a possible new game coming out, maybe. So I just hope that this video ages as fast as Morgan Freeman. I mean, have you Googled that guy? He's never been young. I'm sorry, I don't have time to be a baby. I need to go play God's voice. That was such a bit. So, since Sega has slept on it for over 20 years now, the kids who grew up playing it are now old enough to go ahead and make the spiritual sequel themselves. It's called Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and I just have to say, it's fucking awesome. The frustration of controlling your character has been ironed out completely, and when coasting isn't appropriate, you can snap into parkour mode at a moment's notice for tighter controls over platforming sections. There are a bunch of different modes of transport, each with their own ability that can be used on the environment to get to different spots. The main thing to remember about this game is that Bomb Rush Cyberpunk isn't trying to make Jet Set Radio, it's making it the way you think you remember Jet Set Radio. By that I mean better. Levels are largely wide open playgrounds with nooks and crannies to explore, with cosmetic rewards for difficult to reach zones and graffiti spots for level progression. Tag as much as you can to piss off the local crew and do trick challenges against them to progress to new zones, and unlock boss encounters which require you to do even more skating. You know, I can't think of a single argument that couldn't be solved by skating up my opponent's arm and tagging their face. It's the perfect conflict resolution. Try it on your boss today. The game is short and the price is pricey, but telling some indie devs how to price their game sort of feels like rating someone's baby via fuck, marry, kill. Is that too far? Alright, well, the best option you can say about someone's baby is, like, marry? Let's just say you're paying 2.5 Overwatch skins for the game and call it a day, okay? I think the pattern I'm starting to see is that the cult classics we grew up with are now being expanded upon now that we're the age to call all the shots. My video about Mega Man Battle Network touched on this, and the BattleBit video is another kind of great example, I think. I wonder if part of the reason is that as fans we're neither restricted by the conventions the original laid down, but equally there's no obligation to add more clutter and gimmicks to an already perfect concept. We've sat with these games for years and we know what we want from them and what we'd change. What I'm really trying to say is, in 20 years, there's going to be a fucking awesome Roblox clone.